Hi everybody, Minus here from Pantheon Plus, and up top, as always, Hayah is with me, so welcome.
Hey everyone.
First and foremost, thanks everybody for your feedback on our Enchanter video. It was one of our most viewed videos so far, so I know we fixed a lot of our sound issues, so hopefully that helps with any future viewings. We're pretty excited to keep doing this and get it done a little bit better for you guys, so all the feedback is welcome. We're also pretty close to 200 subscribers, so if you like these videos and you do enjoy this one today, please hit that subscribe button. That's huge for us. We've only been doing this for a few videos, and we love celebrating those little milestones. So again, thanks to everybody who's been supporting us. So we have covered healers. We covered the single support class Bard. We will now be moving into tanks. So what I messaged you today, I'm like, hey, what tank you want to do? And Dire Lord was the first one you thought up. Why Dire Lord?
Honestly, it's the uniquer one. We've seen warriors before. We've seen paladins before.
I still love that you say paladin.
Don't diss my words.
Okay, yeah, so Dire Lord, I think it'll be familiar in some aspects to WoW fans. I'm excited to get into tanking classes. For those that have never talked with me outside of these videos, that's something in WoW. I played every single tank pretty extensively, except for Monk. I played it, and I tanked some content, but I didn't tank much on Monk. But you, on the other hand, that's pretty much all you tanked on and all you played the entire time.
Yep, Monk was a good tank in WoW.
So it's nice that when we talk about tanks here, I'm going to feel a little more in my comfort zone. I love tanking until the content gets boring. I love leading into new content with tanks, and then when it's boring, I switch to a DPS or something like that. So let's jump right into Dire Lord. What we normally do is start with the races, so we'll start right there. Darkmere, Human, Ogre, Scar. Anything on that?
No, it seems pretty fitting.
Yeah, of all of them that I've seen so far, I'd say this is the most fitting, probably, of all of them. It's an evil class. We have all the evil races represented, and the only reason Human's there is because they do everything.
Yeah, humans are going to be a jack of all kind of situation, right?
Yeah. So they are tanks. They do have some utility ability. They'll be like off DPS, but they're not going to be a class you want to bring for solid, just straight DPS. And they have a combat resource called Essence. And if I don't know if you've looked into it yet, but the Essence ability is it's very similar to a Warrior's Rage in WoW, where you're building up a resource to spend. The difference is it plays sort of like an older warrior with Rage, where you not only build it up with abilities that you cast, but you're also going to build it up by taking damage, which is awesome.
Getting smacked, yeah.
Yeah, and if anybody watched some of the was it late November streams, there were some Dire Lord content on there, and at least in the current state, that rage, that Essence seems to fill very quickly. So it's full, empty. It's a very fast-moving resource. So that's pretty cool for everyone out there who likes to manage a resource like that that's quick and you can get a lot out of it. Okay, available armor. Interesting. Cloth leather mail.
See, I like that. It's not just put some really heavy armor on and, take a bunch of hits.
Yeah, so this is a non-plate wearing tank, which is pretty cool. It's not all that uncommon, obviously. I guess most WoW tanks, they have leather wearing tanks, stuff like that. So weapons, pretty simple. Smallest weapon selection for the Dire Lords. You have one or two-handed edged weapons. I mean, it makes sense, right?
Yeah, I really like how they get bonuses to either or depending on which they.
Yeah, it is pretty interesting. So you get a bonus to critical strike chance, so basically hit chance for crit, when you're wielding one-handed weapons, and then you get a bonus to critical strike damage when you're wielding a two-handed weapon. So it's pretty interesting. That can play out a little different, and I'm sure that it has a little bit of say, too, with Essence generation. I can't confirm 100%, but it's probably based on pure damage done during an attack.
Yeah, my guess would be you're not wrong there.
Cool. So what we'll do, we're going to jump into these abilities here, and I'm going to read the first four because they're all passives, and then we can talk about those a little bit. So the first one is Relentless Vitality. Lower your health. The lower your health, the stronger your natural health regeneration becomes. The Sanguine Cloak, your mastery of essence has made you more resistant to magical effects, just base, which is kind of cool. I think one of the things in MMOs a lot of people have complained about is the lack of like a magical tank. WoW had it as a Death Knight for a little bit, which I'm sure we're going to talk in comparison to quite a bit here, but then they got rid of it, where it was really magic focused. So it's pretty interesting you have a base magic resistance here. Dark Revenge, after being critically hit, your next attack will restore your health by X% of the damage you deal, which is passive. That's pretty cool. And Terrormancer, the duration of fear effects on you are cut in half. So why don't I hand that over to you? What stands out between those 4 passives, and what do you think of those?
First and foremost, the Terrormancer is the class I want to play. But more on track. I like the Dark Revenge, because you take a massive hit and then you're going to auto-heal it as long as you're still alive. Well, not auto-heal it all, but auto-heal some as long as you survive it. It's a good thing.
Yeah, a good tank will probably have something big to hit right there, which would be really cool. So, you take that big shot and then you dish out your biggest shot to try to get some of that back. That's pretty cool. The class seems to be around regeneration, so you're probably going to be taking more hits. Your health is probably going to be a little more spiky for healers. Again, just guesses, but that's kind of what this is painting to right now. And that Relentless Vitality, in accordance with Dark Revenge, it's pretty cool. So I wonder if those actually, that's just stronger natural health regen. So
yeah, Relentless Vitality strikes me as an odd choice for what to give a tank when it's low. Because I've seen the lower the health, you do more criticals, or the lower your health, the harder your armor becomes, or stuff like that. More innate regen strikes me as a little odd.
Yeah, because you wonder how much the innate regen's actually strong to begin with. But maybe for them it's going to be a little bit better. That's going to be something interesting to keep your eyes on. Okay, next ability here, Harm Shield. Bring your blood to the surface of your skin and infuse it with caustic properties. Any physical damage dealt to you within 6 meter radius will cause blood to splash on attacking enemies, dealing damage. A little bit of AoE.
Yeah, and it's tricky with the wording, right? It could just be that it's like a Thorns damage shield type thing, or it could be whenever one thing hits you, you splash out. That would be cool too.
Yeah, it says the attacking enemy, so yeah, you're right. It's probably just going to be a straight damage. The next ability, Provoking Phantoms. The longer you stay focused on the same enemy in combat, the more terrifying you will become to them, deepening their fear and hatred of you potentially over time.
So the more I attack this, the more it's going to want to attack. Great main tank ability, but if you're not the main tank, do you have to then switch? Do you have to manage this?
Yeah, and cheating a little bit ahead, there's probably a little bit of way to mitigate that with some of the stances we'll be talking about. But yeah, it's interesting. I mean...
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, this is an activated ability, so if you're not the main tank, just don't use that, right?
Yeah, that too. Yeah, we talked so much about passives. We were like, oh, hey. Dire Mark. You mark a member of your group. Whenever that group member takes damage, X% of that damage will be redirected to you.
Good tanking ability overall.
Yeah, protect your support or your healers, where I see that really going. Essence Thief. Exchange your depleted essence for fresh essence of an enemy within X meters, filling your essence vial to maximum and switching physical locations with them. The shock of this exchange of essence will affect your enemy in different ways based on their entity type. So human, animal, insect, and corporal, etc. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, we need to see like if it does like a stun or a silence, or what the different effects are on the different forms.
Yeah, it's tough to really weigh the strength of it, just assuming that we don't know, like you just said, what it's going to do. I mean, right off the bat, it's switch locations very quickly and max up your essence. So
yeah, disregarding the entity type stuff, it's a great positioning.
Yeah. Especially playing Death Knight in WoW, being the slowest class on the planet, having a reposition is nice. I know, guys, this is not WoW. It's just relatable. Baleful Severing. You sever your enemy's will and command them to be still. In this helpless state, the next attack against them will not miss and cannot be dodged, parried, blocked, I always say this word wrong.
Reposted?
Is that these? I'm trying to like make it all fancy and church it up.
Reposted.
Riposte. I don't know.
Tomato,
It's that.
tomato.
You know, it's funny. That's like an ability from Final Fantasy Tactics that I always pronounced wrong and got you made fun of, or resisted. So when the attack lands, you fill your essence vial to full. So another ability where you're going to get a guaranteed hit and a full essence vial. So again, it seems like with this class, your resources are just going to be up and down, up and down, up and down. It's going to be pretty chaotic.
Your health too, but
Yeah. Grip of Torment. Infiltrate your enemy's essence and turn it against them, obstructing any healing from benefiting that enemy for the duration of the effect. That's pretty cool. I don't know if I ever remember a tank having a healing reduction ability. You know, warriors had it with Mortal Strike, but you couldn't use that as a tank.
But that was different. It would stop the healing they got, not take the healing they got from.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh no, that doesn't do that. Never mind. I'm just overreading things.
Yeah, I've been doing that a lot. Yeah, so it's similar to like a Mortal Strike then, right? So they're going to reduce the healing they receive. That's a really cool tank ability. Actually makes a lot more sense on a tank than an DPS, honestly.
Definitely does.
Blood Fiend. If you are affected with poison or disease, this ability will inflict the same poison or disease on your enemy. That's
really cool.
Yeah. I'm wondering if there'll be moments where that's, you know, I hate using the word meta, but that it's like for certain fights, like a huge attack's come out and it's just so great to have a Death Knight to take that attack and then redirect it to the enemy for like a lot of damage.
Definitely.
That's pretty cool. Laden Blood, or Leaden Blood. You cause your enemy's essence to grow thick and heavy, weighing them to the ground and preventing movement. So more movement stop. That's the second ability that stops movement.
A tank with a root. That's new to me.
Yeah, because to do it as Druid-ish, yeah. But yeah, it's interesting. And, you know, with that, these don't say right off the bat if it's something that can be broken. Like a root, you're used to someone damages it, it breaks. If this is a set time limit where they can't move, that could be a huge moment to put it in place and then back away from a melee and be able to kind of use that to strategize a little bit. Obviously for... what's weird is they started off with the magical resistance, but both of those abilities kind of are bad for like a caster.
Yeah.
Canopy of Blood. You release nearly all the blood in your veins, sacrificing 25% of your health to create a covering that renders all within X meters of you immune to magical effects for a short time.
That sounds really strong.
Yeah, I wonder what the cooldown is on that. That reminds me of an anti-magic shield, but for the whole group.
Yeah, definitely.
But you didn't have to sacrifice your health, so that's interesting too. Sanguine Shield. You draw out your blood and form it into a solid shield in front of you, dampening the damage of magical attacks against you for 2 seconds. There's a chance the damage will be nullified completely, and this chance will increase based on your constitution. So that's pretty cool. So you have sort of a group type of magic resist and a personal. Deafening Whisper. You bombard your opponent's imagination with frightening possibilities, silencing them for a short time. So there's your interrupter silence.
Good tool for a tank to have, for sure.
Yeah, they have a lot of, you know, I'm not seeing a ton of physical damage reduction, but they have a lot of magic reduction and a lot of utility, but I'm still a little bit afraid of how they're going to tank. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine, but I think this is going to be one of those tanks that a healer's kind of frustrated with sometimes on harder content.
Could be.
Okay, so blood states. These are stances. There's 3 stances you can go into, and they persist when you select them, and it's just going to affect how you're playing the class. So I'll just read through them, and then we can kind of talk about this stance system. Nightmare Blood. The damage you deal afflicts your enemy, converting X% of your damage into bonus hate. So that's your Nightmare is your tank ability.
Your tank stats.
Yeah. Torrential Veins. You cause your blood to flow faster, increasing your health regeneration rate and causing your essence vial to fill faster. So probably I don't know if you'll be stance dancing, but certain times maybe you stance dance once your hate's high enough to get more essence to be able to pull off more attacks and defenses. I don't know how that'll play out, but I could see that being the case there. Probably help for some off DPS as well. And then the last one here, Essence Leech. Your blood swells with the essence of your enemies, increasing your critical strike chance. Your critical hits draw out the essence from the enemy, healing you for X amount of damage dealt. So what do you think overall?
I see stance dancing as a thing on a multi-phase fight. So you got the one where you use Nightmare Blood to get more hate at the start of it, then you'd switch to Torrential Veins for the better regen. And then if there's a part where there's a lower damage to you, you could switch to the DPS one.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I just
unless they punish you for changing states or they have a long cast time or something, I could see it being
or maybe just an essence reset. But I didn't look. I watched a video where he was switching. I didn't notice anything, but I wasn't particularly looking, so I could have missed that. So I'm not going to say one way or the others for sure.
Yeah, I've seen Dire Lord gameplay as well, but I didn't really know what I was watching at the time, right? I didn't know what the ins and outs of all the abilities.
Yeah. So you have your melee abilities, Thresh, Ruthless Attack that carves your enemy open, causing your enemy to bleed. So you can put bleed effects on them, which gives you essence. Sanguine Blade, Bloodlace Attack makes your enemy more susceptible to magic damage and drains a small portion of their mana. That's pretty cool to have a little bit of a mana drain helping everybody out. That also generates essence, so that's cool. 2 generators that are pretty good. Edge of Midnight, a strike that absorbs a magical effect from your enemy and grants it to you. That's another one that could be really cool.
Depends if it's random or... Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering, what the limitations are going to be. If you're going to fight a boss fight where they have a mechanic where they get a really cool buff and you can take it sort of like a mage, spell stealing. Yeah, putting that on a tank's pretty cool, actually. So it's doing 2 things. It's not only taking it off of them, it's putting it on you. So you're dispelling them, but you're also possibly gaining from it.
Yeah, even if they set it up so that if you were to take some super awesome boss buff and it even scales down for you, it's still a bonus because you've taken it off the boss.
Yeah, that's a pretty coal attack. There's, again, a lot of utility in this class. It's actually got... you have almost as much utility in this as... in a very different way as like the Shaman did. Shaman was very utility heavy. This is very different. I'm not comparing it at all, but very utility heavy. Abyssal Strike, a vicious attack that ignores all enemy armor. So for your physical damage guys in big armor, that's probably pretty nice. Or big bosses.
Yeah, so that's your big like smack 'em up, spender.
Yeah. And the last one here, Splatter, a violent attack that splatters your enemy's essence into a small radius. Other enemies within that radius have a chance to be affected with the same detrimental effects as your target.
That's powerful. That's going to be huge.
Yeah, so going back to that Shaman, right? So the Shaman puts all those debuffs out. If a Shaman puts a bunch of debuffs out on a main target, can you splash that to everybody?
You would think if you just read this. That's crazy powerful.
Yeah, that's a huge power. That's damn good. And the synergy is awesome. We talked a little bit about that before with Enchanter and Summoner, which we haven't covered Summoner yet, but there's a lot of synergy there. This brings synergy with support classes or classes that have utility. That's a pretty cool thing to have.
Well, Shaman in specific too, because they have a lot of hots, and this guy has natural regen, so the two like healing over time effects from both classes will work. Plus, there's debuff synergy as well.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I haven't looked ahead a lot for Warrior or Paladin, which we'll be covering next. But what I do know is I feel like, and I want to make it clear, we said the same thing with healers, right? So every healer is going to be able to heal. Like you can take any healer to your group. They're going to have different levels of what they bring. Pure healer versus a kind of healer with some buffs, and then kind of healer with some debuffs, or maybe a little stronger. So, something along those lines, you know what I'm saying. And I think the tanks, just looking at this one, I don't read this as, this is going to be the most badass damage reduction tank. I don't read that at all. In fact, it actually scares me a little.
No, this reads to me as the tank that you bring when you have shit on farm.
Yeah, or if you want to use that last spot in the 6-man group for a second tank, if you're farming camps or trying to break in somewhere, that wouldn't be bad to have either.
Definitely.
So overall, pretty interesting class. It does read higher utility than just straight up standard tank that some people are used to, but it'll be pretty interesting. I think a lot of it's going to revolve around having the right attributes, which I'm interested to see. Like it talked about Constitution increasing some of the effects. I'm interested to see what you can do and what kind of gear you can get to even make yourself healing stronger, if that's going to be a possibility, and then how that would play in the fight.
Yeah. So if you can build your character to be more regenery rather than more armory, yeah, that's neat. That's it's gonna be neat.
Yeah, and the fact that they can do so much against magic is really cool. There'll be boss fights where you'll have that uber tank step down to say, okay, you take this guy. And I think a lot of MMOs have sort of missed that. Playing WoW in the raiding scene like we did, it didn't matter. The top 2 tanks were the top 2 tanks. It very seldom mattered outside of those 2. Or that one that you double played. All right, cool. Anything else you want to add to this? Just tanking in general, or anything you read about this, or where we're heading next with any of the videos?
I like the... it's a very niche kind of it's the wrong word, but it's a very specific and different kind of attack. I don't think I've seen this anywhere else before, any game.
Yeah, I think that both me and you, when we first saw this class, were like, oh, this is your DK. It's not.
It is, but it's very much not at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that everybody will relate to the DK in WoW is like, this is a healing tank, right? But outside of that, everything feels different.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have the anti-magic shield, little things, but it definitely, I don't think it's going to be the same feel at all. All right. Very cool. Anything else before we close it up?
Nope, that's all for me.
All right, guys. So not as long as video, not as many abilities for this class, but the abilities it does have are pretty cool. And obviously, this isn't everything. We've kind of witnessed that by seeing some of the live feeds and saying, hey, that spell's not on the site. So still a lot going on with it, but as a base, looks like a pretty cool class. So again, please, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. But more importantly, subscribe so you can see more content from us. And you can follow us on Twitter at PantheonPlus. And you can actually follow this guy up here. We got him on Twitter. What is it? Hayah_plus?
I think so.
It's so great. Like I have probably told him he should get a Twitter since I met him. And the other night he got it. It was fantastic. So definitely harass him on there. What is it? Yeah,
Hayah_plus.
Okay, cool. So yeah, follow him, harass him, introduce him to the social media world. It'd be great. A lot of times if you guys see Pantheon Plus posting, that's usually me or a joint idea that we have. And we still, we're getting very close to a really big announcement. I'm sorry I keep teasing this. I'm not doing it just for hits and follows. We're busting our butts on a project. Nice. We're busting our butts on a project that we're getting closer. I would say within the next month, fingers crossed, #soon, we will be able to announce this. And it has some really cool partnerships. We're even more excited for that than anything. So please stay tuned. Like I said, follow us, hit the like button, and give us any feedback. Honestly, positive or negative, we've taken a lot of both. And if there's something you want to see in the future or something different as we're continuing to build content, shout it out. We'd love to hear it. So thanks, everybody. Next, we'll probably be doing, I think I'm going to pick Paladin. So anyone who wanted to see a Paladin video, we'll do the Paladin next. And then we'll follow that up with Warrior, and then a sort of overall comparison of the tanks. So thanks, everybody. Have a great night.